So it's the middle of October and my deer season is almost here. And my plan is to use a lead-free bullet this year. A couple weeks ago, we tested out the 70 grain Hornady GMX and the 70 grain Barnes TSX in 223. So today I want to test the 165 grain GMX in 308. Now, if we look at this bullet lined up next to the 165 grain SST and the 168 grain Bowtail hollow point, you'll see that the GMX is much longer. Now, if you crack open your Hornady manual, they group the 165 grain GMX with all of their other 165 and 168 bullets for load data purposes, which is kind of crazy when you consider how drastic the bullet length difference is. So in my last 308 video, we shot the 168 grain Hornady Bowtail hollow point as well as the Sierra Match King with AR comp, and we got really good results. So today with the Hornady GMX, I also want to shoot AR comp. Now I only have 50 of these GMXs, so I kind of want to take it easy, not go overboard and load up a bunch of them for useless tests. So I want to take some of the knowledge we gained with AR comp in the last video to pick a charge weight, and then I just want to shoot a couple overall lengths with these and see what sort of results we get. And as a baseline test, I also want to load up some of the 165 grain SST as well, so we can have something to compare to. So this is the plan. I want to use the same brass that we shot in the last video, the Lapua Palma brass, which that stuff has small primer pockets. So we'll shoot CCI 41 small rifle primers. We'll shoot 42.4 grains of AR comp, and then with each of the bullets, we'll shoot 2.8 inches, which is standard magazine length for my AR-10. I want these to be able to fit in the magazine. And then we'll shoot two other overall lengths just to kind of get an idea of what's going on here. We'll shoot 2.775 and 2.750. And we'll duplicate the exact same thing with the SST. Now this 42.4 grain charge is the starting charge we used in the last video. The Hornady manual does not have AR comp data. So we're going off of some Alliant data and some Sierra data for their bullets and the Barnes data for their bullets. They have AR comp. So last video we kind of went with Sierra because they were the highest and I thought we could get away with it. But whenever I was decapping the brass so I could tumble it, the last couple rows where our hottest charge weights were, I noticed the primers were coming out super easy. So after I tumbled them, I pulled out this little go no-go gauge for primer pockets. So a normal good primer pocket, it's got the go side which should go down in there, and then the other side should not. So that's the no-go. But some of these where the primers came out, of course the go goes in nice and easy, and you might already notice that it's a bit wobbly. And then if we switch around to the no-go, it goes right in. So the last video, those last couple charge weights, like 43.5 grains, 43.9 grains, which seemed okay in the video. The groups were good, but we definitely got over pressure and smoked some primer pockets on some very nice expensive brass. So it looks like for my situation, especially with the 168 grain match bullets, 43 I think is about as high as I'm gonna go from now on. And remember, this is the Palma brass, so it has small primer pockets. Imagine, all that brass. This should be more durable than a large primer version of the brass, you would think, right? So if it was able to stretch out these small primer pockets, I bet it would have been really bad with large primer brass, maybe. I don't know. Something I'll have to test at some point, maybe. So that's the plan. Only 30 shots here. I've got 30 pieces of brass that I double checked to make sure their primer pockets were good. So let's start with sizing. So I'm going to use a Hornady sizing die from a custom grade die set. And I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and remove the expander, and we'll use a separate expanding mandrel to set our neck tension. I need more tools. Okay, there we go. No decapping pin. I'm in an imperial sizing die wax sort of mood today, so that's what I'm going to use for case lube. So it looks like our starting number here with the headspace comparator is going to be 1.625. So I'll adjust the die until I see about 1.622 or maybe 1.623, something in that neighborhood. I think I've got it here. Yeah, I think I nailed it. 1.622, 1.6215. All right, so for our expanding mandrel, you can see this says 0.3060. So that's 2 thousandths smaller than our bullet diameter of 308, right? So that's all it is. It's just a mandrel that we're going to use to spread these necks out to the proper size. Same exact function that your expander ball does in your standard resizing die. So why use a mandrel rather than just an expandable? I don't have good personal data to share on that. I just know this is what all the cool kids do. So, okay, yeah, I probably should have shown you the body. These just drop right down in here in the top, and cap screws on it. This is 21st Century Reloading is the one who makes this particular one, but there's a couple companies that make similar stuff. Now for 30 caliber, I got their full set, extremely expensive, but I've got mandrels that go much smaller, like that's a 3040. They're in half thousandths increments. Let me find you one. There we go, that's the next one, 0.3045. So it gives you a lot of control if you want to play around with neck tension. So even if you don't subscribe to the idea that expanding necks separately is going to lead to better ammo, it at least gives you much better control over your neck tension. Trying to get the height about right on this. That should be pretty close. So I put lube on the expander itself, and I'm also going to, especially here for the first few, make sure the inside of the neck is well lubricated as well. And I want to go slow here on this first one because I want to make sure I have my die high enough and that my case mouth isn't going to crash into something. Nope, looks good. Okay, once I finish these up and wipe off this lube, then we'll be ready to see if they need trimmed. So I screwed up here and I'm trying to decide what to do about it. As I was wiping off the cases, I noticed that the case mouths looked a little bit janky or like belled a little bit. Yeah, here's one where it's really, really noticeable. Look what I've done. What happened, my expander was too freaking low. I have crashed these into the end of my expander. Cannot believe I did this. It had to be just barely. Not sure if the light will be right to see it, but there is, yeah, it looks like it didn't really hit. Yeah, I don't know. So here's the options I've come up with. The most obvious would be to just go back over, resize everything, re-expand everything, just start over. And the other thing I'm thinking is that there's lots of other cases when we're loading lead bullets or something where we bell this case mouth intentionally to make sure that bullet seating is smooth. So I could just proceed as normal, and then at the end, whenever I'm setting my seating die, maybe I go ahead and set the crimp. So the crimp just barely kind of brings that back in closer to where it needs to be. Man, I don't know. Crap. I really don't want to go back through resizing again. The problem is that if I don't, and then the results of today's test are something weird, then we won't really know where to look. All right, I'm going to do that. Yep, just going to start over and resize everything again. Now, I don't need to bump the shoulder, and I want to be careful not to bump the shoulder, so it's going to be pretty quick, I think. So I'll start with the GMX and we'll just dial in 2.8. Hopefully this will go smoothly. We've had enough problems for today. So we're about 3 miles too long right now. Yep, right at 300 thousandths too long. So that should put us pretty close. Let's see what that looks like. So we're pretty close at 2.808, and that's about where our bullet's sitting. This is a compressed load. I see we did get a little bit of a Slight scuff on the ogive from the bullet seating stem, but nothing bad, nothing I'm going to freak out about. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go down 10. So this will probably put us just a little bit short. And I'll seat a second one. Oh, I'm an idiot. I went 10 instead of 5. Yeah, just because I'm an idiot. So I'm actually short. These are about 2.790, which is totally fine. Yeah, we'll start there, 2.790. See what the cartridge-based ogive measurement is. Looks like 2.170. No, it looks like 2.168 for our cartridge-based ogive number. Okay, that's the last of the first 5, so now I just need to go down 25. Should be pretty close. And our cartridge-based ogive measurement should be 2.143. And it's perfect, or close enough. And our last one here should be 2.118. So these came out a little bit long. I'm seating a second one just to check. Let me check my math. No, 2.118 should be the number. Yep, it's probably just because of the compressed load. There we are, 2.118, and that should be about 2.740 total overall length. Yep, 2.739. Good. So I'm going to run through the exact same process with the SST. And if I run into any problems, I'll flip on the camera, but otherwise, let's just go ahead and get to the range. This video is a complete dumpster fire, folks. I completely screwed up the audio for my range trip, so I'm going to have to voice this over. The target is at 100 yards, and what you see across the top there is the shot marker electronic target system. I'm getting velocity with the lab radar chronograph, and we'll keep track of that velocity over in the box on the right. Up at the top in the right hand corner and at the center of the top, you'll also see velocities up there. Those are target velocities. So it's generally a couple hundred feet per second slower than our muzzle velocity. The gun is an Aero Precision M5E1 setup with a Krieger barrel. The M110 Krieger with a 1 in 11 twist. So the first group here is the 2.790 inch test with the 165 grain GMX. So it didn't take long to realize this is complete and utter trash here. 2.05 inches with a 2729 velocity and a 9.5 standard deviation. Just not even trying to group. .55 inches at 2698. A little bit better, but nothing good here. Still not even trying to group. So the last group at the 2.740 inch overall length was 1.08 inches at 2682 feet per second and 7.1 standard deviation. So it got better a ½ inch at a time, basically. A 2 inch, a 1.5 inch, and then a 1 inch group. So if there's any hope for accuracy with this bullet, we're probably going to need to keep going a little bit shorter, or maybe we start at that 2.750 inch and go a little bit. So moving on to these 165 grain SST back to 2.790 inches. So a 0.83 inch group, velocity 2735, standard deviation 8.1. Not a bad start. If it wasn't for that fourth group or that fourth shot, it would have been even better. So this group at 1.04 inches is just really strange with the vertical stringing. Velocity about the same as the last group, 2729. Standard deviation 6.1. And then our last group here is 1.16 inches at 2734 and a 9.0 standard deviation. So this whole video is a frickin' dumpster fire here. Problems when loading, groups sucked, range audio's gone for the most part. Oh, I'd really like to throw this video in the trash, but I need something to upload here on Sunday. So this is what we get. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do is our best group with 165 grain GMX, the 1.08 inch group at the 2.750 inch overall length. We need to start there and do some more testing. So a little bit shorter overall lengths, maybe a little bit smaller increments than we tried today. And I'm probably going to just go ahead and call this my hunting load for the year because I'm just running out of time. So to make up for this terrible video here on Sunday, I'm going to post another video this coming week, probably Wednesday night or maybe Thursday night at 8 o'clock Eastern, kind of as an apology for such a crappy Sunday video. So let's wrap this one up. Let's hope the next one's better. Check on Wednesday or Thursday. If you're watching this later and that video's already been out, I'll have a link popping up there in the top right now, down in the description, all of the normal places you get that sort of stuff. So that's it for this one. See you guys next time.